headed to Porcupine Plain in Eastern Region 2 to meet with Elder Rita Descharme and Brent Dignes, who run a local community garden. Before the fall harvest, they will be showing me around, and at the same time, I hope to learn how to name some vegetables in the Michif language. Good morning, Mr. Dignes. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, Jason. How are you?
Good, very well. So thank you for welcoming me to the community garden here in Porcupine Plain.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure having you and having your cameraman come out and take all this in and enjoy it the last few days here. So it's been great.
Good. So can you tell me who started the community garden here?
The community garden was a vision of mine approximately 3 years ago. I seen a great need in this area, the southern area, for sustainable food. And I always believe in leading by example, and it's just grown from there to helping individuals in our community and in surrounding area with fresh vegetables.
Okay. And so who maintains the garden on a daily basis?
Normally I'm and my partner Trinidad and stepson are up around 5 o'clock in the morning, and we take care of the needs of the garden. And it's a full-time job. When I'm on the road, my partner Trinidad and stepson take care of it then.
How long has the community garden been in existence?
Approximately 2.5 years.
Yeah. And so the whole community of Porcupine Plain benefits from the community garden?
Throughout the region, actually, Jason, the idea is to expand this into now a canning program with, again, having our elder speak the Michif language and introduce the Michif language that way through the garden program and through the canning that we're going to be doing this fall. And those vegetables will be shared throughout the Eastern Region too.
Okay, fantastic. So would you say gardening is one of your pastimes now?
Gardening has always been a passed down passion of mine. It started with my great-grandmother, and my grandmother and I spent quite a bit of time in the garden where she'd teach me about the different vegetables that we grew for our stews and soups and that in the fall and throughout the winter. When we'd get our wild meat, well, we'd have our vegetables preserved in that as well.
So you got lessons from your grandmother growing up about the gardening then?
Absolutely, yes. It was very, very much instilled on me. Yeah.
Are we harvesting anything in the garden today?
Fortunately, yes, Jason. We've got a few vegetables that are ready. Being as with the weather we've got a Métis traditional stew that we're going to be putting together. Elder Rita is over in the other garden. She's just getting ready to pull some potatoes. The weather's starting to come in on us, Jason. I'll let you take some time with Elder Rita, and I'm going to go and check on the corn and get some other vegetables that are over there, Jason.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Elder Rita. How are you?
It's all right, yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I'm good. So can you tell me about your community garden and what gardening meant to your family and whatnot?
Growing up, it was a staple for us because we all had a garden, right? And we canned our vegetables and then we preserved them in a cellar. They call it a cellar because we didn't have no freezers then, so we canned. And like potatoes and carrots and those other hardy vegetables were kept in the cellar all winter.
As a little girl, were you in the garden?
Oh, yes. From the time we were old enough to go in the garden, we were in the garden helping.
Okay, and then so who would have taught you all your gardening skills that you know today?
My parents and my kokum and my mushroom.
Can you tell me the significance of gardening to our Métis people?
Well, it's very important. Like I said, we couldn't buy vegetables when I was growing up because they weren't available as they are now from the stores. So every community, Métis community had a garden. Pretty much everybody had a garden growing up.
Minister Dignes had mentioned that we were going to make a pot of Métis stew. So I really don't know a whole lot about gardening. So could you teach me a little bit about harvesting?
Sure.
You want to? Yeah, sure, sure.
You got to pull this out first.
Let me know if you need a little hand.
It's all right.
Oh,
So quickly patak, papowa. Do I take them right now?
so you're going to be teaching me a little bit of Michif because I know no Michif at all. So can you tell me what the vegetable is in Michif?
Di patak.
Li patak? Li patak?
Uh-huh.
And which means
Potato.
potato.
Yes.
Hey, Auntie.
Tanshikya.
I found more peas for
Di pois.
our stew.
Di
And for
patak.
Yeah, well, that'll be enough Swiss chard, do you think, Auntie?
Oh yeah.
Hey, look at how green that is. How do you
Yeah.
say green?
Vert.
Ah, thank you.
How do you say green?
Le vert.
Lever?
Le vert.
Lever.
Vert.
We'll be having a good lunch again, Jason.
Yeah.
Hey,
We Métis people love to eat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna boil some water for us now, Auntie, and get started. Okay.
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 The lopari.
Okay.
What are we going to harvest now?
Onions.
Onions? So how do you say onions in
Sayon.
Lisayon?
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me how to harvest the onion?
Je pense. Pour la soupe.
With me, I have a couple of gardening tools. Can you tell me in Michif what a shovel is?
And bêche.
And a hoe is
And grat.
engrat? Engrat.
And grat.
What are we going to harvest next?
Carrots. Li carotte.
Li carotte. Carrots. Okay, let's go to the carrots. Can you tell me how to harvest the carrots? Because I really don't know.
We used to just pull them. Sometimes they're easy to pull out. Otherwise, you got to use a shovel.
Okay, first I'll just try and pull some and we'll see how that goes.
There. They're not big, but
Now that we've got a few vegetables, let's take them over and get them ready for the pot of stew. How do you say stew in Michif?
la soup, we always used to say soup, not stew, but it was the same thing to us because I guess we didn't know the word stew at the time, right? So we just always used to say, we're going to make vegetable soup from our garden.
So we've harvested some vegetables from the garden. Can you tell me what goes into making a pot of soup or la soup?
The carrots, onions, potatoes, and celery, which is right here, if you want to grab one of those. Thank you. And you usually put meat with your soup, and from the garden, that's pretty much it, I think, for the garden.
Okay, traditionally, what kind of meat would you put in the soup or stew?
We used to have usually wild meat, like deer meat. That's what we'd use, chèvre.
Elder, now that we're done harvesting vegetables in the garden, what happens to the vegetables after?
Well, you can most of them, and the ones you don't can, you put them in cold storage, and they keep there for the whole winter. There's turnips, carrots, potatoes, and we used to have turnips, always had turnips.
Okay, and you mentioned cold storage. What was the cold storage?
We used to have a cellar in the house. That's where we used to store our vegetables for the winter, and all our canning went in the cellar too.
And so, if I remember correctly, the cellar was always sort of like a hole in
Floor in the house, yes. We used to have a root cellar, and then when they built the other house that my grandparents moved into, they built a big enough cellar. We didn't need the root cellar anymore, so we used the cellar for storing our vegetables in the winter. And we did a lot of canning.
How long would vegetables last in the cellar?
Until summer. Close to, we had enough vegetables to last us to the middle of the summer where your other fresh vegetables like your peas and your lettuce and stuff, fresh vegetables that you could eat until the other vegetables were ready.
I heard you're going to be doing a naming of the vegetables with the youth. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I'm going to show them how to do the canning, and while I'm doing that, I'm also going to tell them in Michif what the vegetables are, and we're also going to do some jams and jellies, and I'll do the same with those. I will tell them in Michif and in English, translate both languages to them so they understand, and show them what the vegetable is at the same time.
So you're going to be teaching students some Michif. Can you give me your opinion how important it is to be teaching the youth Michif language?
It's very important that it starts with the younger generation because none of them can speak it. They can't understand it. Well, maybe a few, very, very few. And we have to preserve our language, right, and our culture, otherwise it'll be lost. And I know in my family it's almost lost, you know. So it's very important that they know what vegetables are, the names of them, and what do they do with them after they're harvested.
Yeah,
Don't you?
the water is ready and we've got most of the Swiss chard is in there with a bit of baking, so you and Jason are welcome to come and join us. And I see you found some veggies in that to prepare for our stew this evening, so
Yeah.
we should be good to go. So whenever you're ready to eat, we'll go start with that. And
Okay, thank you.
Elder Rita and Minister Dignas, I would like to thank you for inviting me here to Porcupine Plain and walking through the garden and teaching me some Michif language of harvesting the vegetables today.
appreciate you coming and appreciate you coming, Auntie, and sharing
Thank
all
you.
your knowledge with us. And I'm looking so much forward to the canning program and sharing your knowledge with the youth this fall.
Okay.
It's a gem. You're just a true gem, and
Well, thank you.
we can't thank you enough. So, and Jason, continue with your great work and bringing this knowledge to our people. That is just wonderful. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
I appreciate that. Despite the mediocre weather, I enjoyed learning about the garden, picking a few vegetables, and pronouncing the names in Michif. I'm sure the students will love the upcoming canning demonstration in the fall. Time to hit the road again and meet some more friendly faces.